Cardiovascular system infections. So the cardiovascular system infections includes the infections of both heart and blood vessels. So infections of heart include infection of all the three layers of heart wall. That is, there are three layers of heart wall which are called as endocardium, epicardium, endocardium, pericardium, and myocardium. If endocardium of the heart is infected, it is called as infective endocarditis. And if pericardium of the heart is infected, it is called as pericarditis. And if myocardium layer of the heart, which is the middle layer of the heart, is infected, it is called as myocarditis. So this is about the infections of heart. Infections of blood vessels, which include mycotic aneurysm and infective endarteritis. These are infections of blood vessels. And device related infections. So device related infections include the CRBSI and suppurative thrombophlebitis. So CRBSI means catheter related bloodstream infection, and autoimmune mediated, which includes acute rheumatic fever. This is just an example for autoimmune mediated. These are all just the examples. So cardiovascular system infections means it includes the infections of both heart and the blood vessels. So infections of heart means it includes infections of all the three layers of the heart wall, that is endocardium, myocardium, and pericardium. If endocardium, that is the innermost layer of the heart, is infected, it is called as infective endocarditis. If myocardium or the middle layer of the heart is infected, it is called as myocarditis. If pericardium or the outermost layer of the heart is infected, it is called as pericarditis. And infections of blood vessels also comes under serious infections, and example for infections of blood vessels are mycotic aneurysm and infective endarteritis. And device related infections also come under serious infections, which include CRBSI and suppurative thrombophlebitis. Catheter related bloodstream infection is CRBSI. And the serious infections also includes autoimmune mediated diseases such as acute rheumatic fever. So regarding infective endocarditis, so in infective endocarditis, there is microbial invasion of the heart walls or mural endocardium. So it results in formation of bulky friable vegetations. Vegetations means thrombus on the heart walls, and this vegetation is composed of mass of platelet plus fibrin plus small colonies of organisms, microcolonies of organisms, and scanty inflammatory cells. So infective endocarditis means it is the microbial invasion of the heart valves or the mural endocardium. So it results in the formation of bulky friable vegetations, and these vegetations are composed of platelets, fibrins, microcolonies of organisms, and scanty inflammatory cells. So these vegetations, they are present on the heart wall. So vegetation means thrombus on the heart wall is called as vegetation. So most common site of vegetations are heart walls. First most common site is heart wall, and the next most common site for vegetations are low pressure side of ventricular septal defect, and the third most common site for vegetations are on the mural endocardium. So vegetations are most commonly present on the heart valves, followed by low pressure side of ventricular septal defect, and finally on the mural endocardium. These are the most common sites, three most very common sites for vegetations. So regarding the classification, the infective endocarditis is classified to acute and subacute forms. So this is the difference between acute endocarditis and subacute endocarditis. The evolution in case of acute endocarditis is rapid, whereas in subacute it is very slow. The acute endocarditis infects the normal cardiac valve only, but in case of subacute endocarditis it affects the previously damaged valves, and the organisms causing acute endocarditis will have very high virulence, example Staphylococcus aureus, and organisms causing subacute endocarditis will have low virulence, example viridans streptococci. And acute endocarditis, since the organism causing acute endocarditis is of high virulence, it leads to substantial morbidity and mortality even with most appropriate antibiotic therapy or surgery. So it is very dangerous. Acute endocarditis is very dangerous, and subacute endocarditis gradually progresses for weeks to months, and most patients will recover after antibiotic therapy. It does not progress to death. And acute endocarditis is the less common type, which is found in 10 to 20% of all the cases, and subacute endocarditis is the more common type, which is seen in 50 to 60% of all the cases. So regarding the pathogenesis of infective endocarditis, first, underlying risk factors can contribute to the pathogenesis of infective endocarditis. So the risk factors, which can be any underlying cardiac defect, like infective endocarditis associated with mitral regurgitation or aortic stenosis, or aortic stenosis or aortic regurgitation or ventricular septal defect. So if infective endocarditis is associated with any underlying cardiac defects, such as like along with mitral regurgitation, or along with aortic regurgitation, or along with aortic stenosis, or along with ventricular septal defect, it is very severe, it will be very severe. And if intravenous catheter is used, that is also a risk factor for the development of infective endocarditis, and prosthetic valve replacement surgery. So these are the risk factors for the development of infective endocarditis. And the next risk factor is endothelial injury. So regarding endothelial injury, it is very common on the injured walls. Endothelial injury is very common on the previously injured walls. And how endothelial injury happens is because of any predisposing abnormalities or IV catheter. These are the factors that can cause damage to the endothelium. So if the endothelium is damaged, it leads to deposition of platelets and fibrin. So it leads to development of non-bacterial thrombotic endocarditis, NBTE. So the second pathogenesis is endothelial injury, where the infective endocarditis is often more common on the previously injured walls. So predisposing abnormality, IV catheter, these can damage the endothelium and can cause deposition of platelets and fibrin on the endothelium, which leads to non-bacterial thrombotic endocarditis. So this is about the pathogenesis due to endothelial injury. And next is regarding the colonization. So thrombus is the site for bacterial attachment, and if there is any transient entry of bacterium into the bloodstream, the organisms may colonize and damage the endothelial surface. So this is about the colonization. And then the other pathogenesis is formation of vegetations. So vegetation means thrombus on the heart valves. So after colonization, the endothelial surface gets covered with, so after following colonization, endothelial surface gets covered with fibrin and platelets. So it leads to further bacterial multiplication. So this is about vegetation, formation of vegetation, which can contribute to infective endocarditis. So vegetation actually means it is the combination of platelet, fibrin, inflammatory cells and organisms. So vegetation is the combination of platelets, fibrins, inflammatory cells and organisms. So the final pathogenesis of infective endocarditis will be metastasis. So in metastasis, the vegetation, so previous step, the vegetation is the previous step to metastasis. So this vegetation, it can seed the bacteria to the bloodstream at a slow and constant rate. So this can lead to metastasis at distant sites. This is all about the pathogenesis of infective endocarditis. These are the agents causing infective endocarditis. So the etiological agents of infective endocarditis are Staphylococcus aureus, coagulase negative staphylococci, for example Staphylococcus epidermidis, and viridin streptococci and others, and enterococci, pneumococci, fastidious gram-negative coccobacilli, which belong to the Hasek group, Enterobacteriaceae, Pseudomonas species, which is usually seen in drug abusers, and Candida species and diphtherioids. And here Hasek group means Hasek group means it includes 5 microorganisms. So first is H for Haemophilus parainfluenzae, A for Aggregatibacter species, which includes Aggregatibacter actinomycetum comitans, Aggregatibacter Aphrophilus, and Aggregatibacter paraprophyllus. And C for Cardiobacterium hominis, E for Eikenella corrodens, K for Kingella kingae. So this is the abbreviation of HASEC. So there are different types of endocarditis, and the causative agents vary in specific types of endocarditis. So first, in native valve endocarditis, it is caused by Staphylococcus aureus. And then in prosthetic valve endocarditis, this occurs following cardiac valve replacement. So this prosthetic valve endocarditis is classified to early prosthetic valve endocarditis, late prosthetic valve endocarditis, and overall. So in early prosthetic valve endocarditis, which occurs within 12 months of valve replacement, it is due to coagulase negative staphylococci and Staphylococcus aureus. And late prosthetic valve endocarditis occurs after 12 months of valve replacement, and this is caused by viridin streptococci. And overall type of prosthetic valve endocarditis is regardless of the time of onset after the surgery, and it is caused due to coagulase negative staphylococci. And then endocarditis and IV drug abusers. So young males are the most common victims, and skin is the commonest source of infection in case of IV drug abusers who acquire endocarditis. So endocarditis and IV drug abusers are classified to right-sided or tricuspid valve endocarditis, left-sided or mitral valve endocarditis, and overall. So right-sided or tricuspid valve endocarditis is caused due to Staphylococcus aureus. Left-sided or mitral valve endocarditis is caused due to Enterococcus, Staphylococcus aureus, Pseudomonas aeruginosa, Candida species. And some unusual organisms causing left-sided endocarditis are Bacillus, Lactobacillus, Corynebacterium species. And in overall category, it is caused due to Staphylococcus aureus. And there is another type called as subacute endocarditis, which is due to viridin streptococci. And one more type called as culture negative endocarditis. Culture negative means if endocarditis, for diagnosis of endocarditis, if blood culture is performed for diagnosis of endocarditis, it will show negative result, but the patient will actually have endocarditis. So this is seen in 5 to 10% of infective endocarditis patients, and this occurs because of prior antibiotic exposure. So remaining patients, so 5 to 10% will have culture negative endocarditis, and remaining patients are infected by fastidious organisms such as nutritionally variant streptococci like Granulicatella and Abiotrophia species, and Hasek organisms Coxiella burnetii, Bartonella species, Brucella species, Trophorima whipplei, which causes indolent culture negative afebrile form of endocarditis, and some fastidious organisms occur in characteristic geographic settings, like for example Burnetii and Bartonella species in Europe, Brucella species in Middle East. So regarding the clinical manifestations of infective endocarditis, there are three types of manifestations. cardiac, non-cardiac, and laboratory manifestations. So cardiac manifestations include worsened or regurgitant murmur, which is more useful for the diagnosis of infective endocarditis, which involves a normal cardiac valve, which involves or which affects normal cardiac valve. So this cardiac manifestations are very useful for the diagnosis. And non-cardiac manifestations include fever, sweat, anorexia, weight loss, myalgia, arthralgia, arterial emboli, splenomegaly, clubbing, petechiae, neurological manifestations, and peripheral manifestations such as Osler's nodes, subungual hemorrhages, and Janeway lesions. So this is about non-cardiac manifestations. And laboratory manifestations are anemia, and in laboratory manifestations, ESR, that is erythrocyte sedimentation rate, C-reactive protein, and rheumatoid factor, all these three are increased in case of infective endocarditis. And also in laboratory manifestations, leukocytosis is seen, and microscopic hematuria is also seen.